things I'd like to do, and we did not do that earlier, but I always do, and I call it job security, is introduce our boards of directors. So if you are on the board of directors for either the Prescott Valley, Prescott Chamber of Commerce, or any other Chamber of Commerce in our community, would you please rise and let us recognize you? Thank you. Thank you very much. And just I will take the liberty to welcome and be very proud that my dad is here, Dwayne Rasher, and so Pops, thank you for being here and sharing this time with us. The governor was earlier on the morning scramble. It will be aired on Monday, January the 23rd, about 8:45. So I want to let you know that she was interviewed by Lily Tanya earlier today. So please turn it on and check that out, or put it on your little DVR or something and save it if all of us are, those of us that have to work. 8:45 on Monday. That is Channel 7. And again, following the governor's speech, she will be taking questions and answers. We ask that you please wait if you're recognized till we get a microphone to you so that we can get your questions and everybody can hear them. And also, we are recording with Channel 13, so we want to make sure that we get those questions and everybody can hear them, so please wait. And with that, I'm very pleased and honored to have Governor Brewer here with us today. On January 21st, 2009, she took the oath of office to become Arizona's 22nd governor, taking immediate steps to bring Arizona back from the brink of economic collapse. Governor Brewer's first act was to issue a moratorium on new regulations, and she then implemented her 4 cornerstones of reform, including a blueprint for education that reaches every student in every classroom in every part of Arizona. In partnership with the legislature, Governor Brewer quickly made our state government smaller and more efficient, including a competitiveness package containing a broad-based income and property tax reforms that have improved Arizona's standing as a business-friendly state. The governor then led the Arizona Commerce Authority as it helped relocate or expand companies amounting to more than $5.5 billion in capital investment with the creation of thousands of jobs, a job growth that ranks 7th best in the nation. These achievements mean Arizona will now have a surplus, an extraordinary turnaround thanks to the governor's strength and vision. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce someone whose steadfast leadership has proven the Arizona comeback is not just a political statement, but a reality, and that we are well prepared for Arizona's second century. The Honorable Janice K. Brewer, Governor of the state of Arizona.
Thank you, Margie, very much for that very, very kind introduction. And thanks to all of you for being here today. I feel honored to have been invited to spend this time with you. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the wonderful Best Fest that you had up here. Everybody's been talking about it, not only in Prescott, but down in the valley. They said that it was really the best fest ever, and that you guys did a fabulous job. So it's always a fun time. Not many of us get the opportunity, of course, to participate in the centennial celebration. So it's a one-time event. So I'm enjoying it, looking forward to all the other celebrations. And I was sorry that I wasn't able to be up here with all of you when it happened. I had to go out of town on business, no vacations, but on business. But the response was absolutely terrific. Just always the way that it always is in Prescott. I was talking at the table that Prescott and your Court Center and Whiskey Row, that Prescott truly is a destination for so many people that are coming to visit our state. And when you talk to them, they're always so excited, and they're always commenting about the friendly atmosphere out there. And I just share that with you today because of our conversation here. So keep up the good hospitality, will you? Let me also, again, thank the Prescott Chamber of Commerce and Dave Maurer, and of course you, Margie, for allowing me to be here and giving me this opportunity to share some of the things that are going on and that are headed our way in 2012. In the midst of heated political and policy battles in state and local government arenas. Some people will say that that's fighting and arguing. It's just passionate comment, I might say. I mentioned it to the speaker, Tobin, here today. We were talking about that again at our table. And it is something that just goes with the territory. We operate in the political arena. And the legislature and the executive office, of course, is the environment of where policy is made. And that's where the debate goes on. So welcome to our world. Don't believe everything you read in the newspaper. Here. But I will say, all of you up here, you have really truly contributed immensely to that debate, and for that we are always grateful. We're always interested in what people are thinking and what they think ought to be the solution. So, and I want you to know that I deeply, meaningfully, deeply appreciate your support, your determination in our efforts to set the right course for the next few years in the state of Arizona. And I truly believe that you all and everyone in Arizona absolutely deserves the truth. And you deserve results and not rhetoric. So today I'm hoping that I will be able to stand before you and tell you the truth and the results and what we've done and why we did it. After several years of hard work, after several years of very tough decisions, our plan did indeed work in Arizona. Arizona's recovery started in earnest with my 4 cornerstones of reform, improving Arizona's position and incomes through an agenda of number 1, economic competitiveness, reforming education and state government, and a renewed fight for states' rights. Today, I am very proud to say that we're back. We are back. The Arizona budget is balanced for the first time in years. A cash balance forward going into the next years. Expenditures are down almost 20%, and the number of state employees is down almost 15%. Our state government is smaller, with state personnel spending falling almost $200 million between 2007 and 2011, and that is a huge reduction. Compared to the population we serve, our workforce is one of the most efficient in the nation. We've rescaled our state's largest entitlement program to fit the budget we have, and I will remind you, the budget that we have, not the budget that we want. We've consolidated, we've eliminated, and we have privatized operations across state government. In the history of this state, no other governor has cut government more than I have. We absolutely must find a way to fund the results that we want and reward those educators, and I know there are several in this audience, who guide us into our next century. We're blessed to live in a growing state where Arizona's families will and should turn to public schools with confidence to educate their children. Our state, yes. Our state is a leader in allowing parents to choose a school that best meets their children's needs. We can't allow children to fall behind because they come from single-parent homes or neighborhoods that are struggling or rural regions far away from their own. We can't allow children to fall behind because they have misguided parents, if you will, who just don't care or who aren't engaged. For generations, our schools work because as a society, we all insisted on it. We refused to accept failure. We cannot accept failure now. Arizona's strength is cultivated in its school. For too long, we allowed our children, our hope, by the way, for tomorrow, to be shuffled through a very broken system. But not anymore. We want the best for our children and grandchildren, and we want them to achieve the things that they dream of. We want to ensure that they will enjoy the same high quality of life that we enjoy. That's why we're acting and the highest of standards. That's the foundation for jobs. That's the foundation for job creation, something we're doing as part of the great Arizona comeback. With its work only just beginning, Arizona and the Arizona Commerce Authority's public-private efforts have attracted nearly 47,000 jobs and $9 billion in capital investment to our state. That's really big, and I don't believe that Arizona, thank you. 3 years ago, we were in the worst budget deficit, we were in bankruptcy, and I did not even have the money to make payroll when I became governor. And here we are today with the biggest turnaround in the country. We were worse off than California, we were worse off than New Jersey. And it seems to me that they get all the play. Well, with your help, your encouragement, and your sensitivity, we have made the biggest comeback in the country. So we need to applaud all of you. I must tell you, that would not have happened just because wishing for it. Tough decisions had to be made, and leadership had to be shown. And we're going to do the very same thing moving into the next legislative session. I know that Speaker Tobin is a leader. He knows the path. He's got principle. And he has a philosophy much like mine, that we're going to do it and we're going to do it right, right? Just in 2009, Arizona was dubbed number 47 in job growth. Today, we are number 7. Success. You like that word, success. And I will say that by developing a strong workforce and keeping state regulations lean, taxes, and keeping it competitive, we must continue the conditions that are now needed to grow this economy. And that is why I am asking the legislature to consider a package of reforms to consolidate the state's multiple personnel system. First, improve the management of the workforce, restructure the grievance and the appeal system, and modify human resource practices. These reforms begin with what I call the centennial edition of my 4 cornerstones, including improving Arizona's economic competitiveness. Number 2, bringing needed reforms to K-12 and higher education, modernizing state government, and challenging a federal government that has exceeded its constitutional authority. In order to remove the barriers to job creation, to give small businesses the stability and the predictability that they deserve, and to promote economic freedom, I'm pursuing improvements in personal property tax and the transaction privilege tax. We need to revise the statutory inflation index to give small businesses a larger tax exemption on their personal property. We need to clarify the starting point for personal property valuation, and we need to better define intangible personal property, such as software, in order to stop taxpayer confusion and frustration. For corporations, among other reforms, we need to pursue options to reduce the effective tax rate on capital gains from business growth. I'm establishing a task force to study ways in which the state can simplify the transaction privilege tax, reducing taxpayers' confusion and improving compliance and efficiency. And the mayor has already volunteered to help us go through that process and to work with us to find a solution. It's going to take dedicated, interested people that love their state, love their city to make that difference. It takes some difficult decisions, once again, but it's the right thing to do. And we need the right kind of people, so looking forward to working with you, Mayor. I really, truly believe that the hardworking Arizona taxpayers deserve a budget that forces government to do exactly what hardworking families have had to do and what small businesses have already done. Tighten our belts and live within our means. And that's what my budget does. light of their impact on the state's long-term fiscal health. 2, funding for a program will not be restored simply because funding has been provided in the past. 3rd, spending decisions must respect the wishes of the citizens who, in voting for Proposition 100, recognize the importance of funding for education, health, and the most vulnerable in our society. And I made a promise when I led the charge for that temporary sales tax that it would end in 3 years. It will end May 31st, 2013. And I will tell you, a promise is a promise. It's in the Constitution as I pledged, and it will go away. It is gone. I will tell you, and I will be perfectly honest, there is concern from certain populations and certain organizations that maybe they'll need to look at some way, somehow, to come about trying to get more money back into the revenue arena. And I said that I would listen. I will not lead the charge. I will not lead the campaign. But they are out there. So when you start hearing those kinds of things, I want you to pay attention. I want you to listen well, and then make your decision. But I don't want it ever to be said from Yavapai County or the Prescott Chamber of Commerce that Jan Brewer came up here, asked you for your support, and said that it was a temporary tax and that it was going away, because it is gone in 2013. Also, 4th, temporary resources will be used to improve the state's long-term positions. My budget recommendations provide funding for severely and several critical IT projects, including replacement of the state's accounting system, as well as addressing K-12 needs, rollover repayments, and tourism funding. I will mention here that with our IT system, it is so old and broken down that at one point in time, we didn't believe that we were going to be able to even get payroll checks out, not to mention all the other things that were created with that. It broke down about 18 times in 1 month, and when everybody was scurrying around working 24 hours 7. And you all know, because you're business people, that if you don't have your infrastructure in, and you don't have the ability to have that kind of technology, it just stops the ship. It goes nowhere. There's no more sailing, there's no more solving, there's no more nothing. And so I believe that that is something that is really severely important, and I'm asking the legislature to support me on that, and I think that we probably will agree upon that, because they understand how important technology is to the state and to all of you that utilize all of that technology for a lot of different reasons. And we're also addressing with those one-time dollars capital needs at the Departments of Correction and the Department of Public Safety. And for education, I'm recommending several K-12 higher education funding changes to address 3rd grade reading standards and overhauling the school's facilities board's statutes, something that needs to really be addressed. And for higher education, we're recommending implementation of performance funding for the universities. And we're calling for a review of the community colleges funding formulas to move colleges toward a performance-based system. And we'd also like to see established a community college scholarship program funding to revamp university education delivery. Future Medicaid expansion continues. That would be the Obama health care for those that did all of that. Continues to be a major concern for our health and welfare programs. And I'm recommending that we explore these costs as potential risks contingent on court and congressional action over the next 2 years. My entire career in public service has been dedicated to promoting freedom and encouraging Arizona's job creators, that would be all of you in this room, and small businesses to lead Arizona to better days. We're all entering Arizona's 2nd century. And I pledge to you a government that practices accountability, responsibility, in everything that it does. There's a lot of rhetoric, I shouldn't say rhetoric, there's a lot of communication going on about our budget. it's a document that a lot of time and energy that was put into it by a lot of talented and knowledgeable people. And we are fortunate because of the tough decisions that we all made. And that today, because of the job growth, that we do have a carry forward. And that carry forward is put into my budget. It's not put into the rainy day fund. I was in the legislature way back when we were almost in bankruptcy, and we determined, we got ourselves out of it. We declared and put together the rainy day fund. We funded it. And then along comes good times, and people were spending like there was no tomorrow. And where did that get us? They took the money out of the rainy day fund, and they spent it on things to grow government bigger, to provide bigger and better things to whomever they thought. Everybody had a wish list. And then we had a downturn, and where did that leave us? There was no money to fall back on. I mean, they even took money out of the rainy day fund, and it wasn't even raining. That is not good. So, the rainy day fund is controlled by statute. It says it can be used for certain things. So, knowing that we are cutting back and we have this carry forward, I have put it in the carry forward because we know that moving into 2014 we have a big, big cliff. Probably because the temporary sales tax goes away on May 31st, 2013. That's $1 billion that will be gone. And we know the big elephant in the room is the Obama health care. The bottom line is that Obama health care is going to cost you and I, listen up, $3 billion a month in order to put into place what that piece of legislation and the president wants to do. It is it's just takes your breath away to think that they could do that. $3 billion for the state of Arizona, $76 billion for the federal government to implement that. And it is staggering. So that's why I joined the lawsuit. Probably the second person to get involved. And we're anticipating, hopefully, sometime in April, to get the results back with the Supreme Court. We know they're going to hear it, so that's a good thing. I think that we have solid ground to stand on, and I feel very, very hopeful in return to that, to see that we don't get back. It is something that almost every governor in our country opposes. I think it's almost unanimously, if not 80% of the American people finally now have their hands around it and they understand what exactly that piece of legislation is going to do. It's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for Arizona. It's certainly not going to be good for America. In closing, just let me say that I believe today that we have a flatter, fairer system in Arizona government. I believe that our state is probably, if not, will be the most business-friendly state in the country. And I want you to know that with our modernization of our tax code, that will make us only better. I want everyone to know that Arizona is open for business. And I want everyone to know that they have a government that is stable and that indeed it is predictable. And that hasn't been easy, Speaker. You know it hasn't been easy. We know it's not going to be easy moving forward. But I believe with the talent that Yavapai has sent us, that's pretty neat, isn't it? Oh my gosh, you've got the two most powerful people in the legislature from Yavapai County. You got to really show your pudding now. But in the old days, that didn't happen very often to have leadership from the rural area, let alone both from the same county. So that's a kind of a record-making thing going into the Centennial. And interestingly enough, the Centennial, Prescott, and this phenomena. So you got to pat yourself on the shoulder. You're kind of going back in history and remaking the Prescott, Yavapai County issue for all of us. But we will work hard. Oh, I would love it. I would love it. I keep telling everybody, find me a house I can afford. But I think it's important that you all know that good government always costs a little bit of money, but we have slimmed it down, slimmed it down, slimmed it down. But we're going to do those one-time fixes. It's going to cost us about maybe $400 million, and we're going to take care of some public safety issues. We have plenty of minimum security cells. We don't have enough maximum. Puts our officers, our correctional officers at risk. So we're going to put some money in there for some maximum beds. We're going to help DPS out because the cars are old and beaten up, and change the formula, how those vehicles are charged. That's going to cost us about $66 million. Education, there are no new cuts in education for all of you that are out there, but we're going to do some one-time improvements, things like what I mentioned earlier, my move on when ready. That's very, very important because we all know that if you can't read by the 3rd grade and you go on to the 4th grade, you are never successful. You're just not going to make it. That's something that I will put my foot down on. I will not move on that. I don't think that you all will either, but that is important. We're going to put soft capital back into the to the education for books and computers and library materials and things like that. And adult education, I think, is really important that for those that have dropped out for whatever the reason, or they weren't in the right place, or they didn't have whatever, the right teachers, they didn't have the right parents, be able to afford and get them their GEDs so they can go on to community college and get a job and get a skilled position so that they can be a contributor to our great state. And the state's facilities board, we need and have not taken care of them. Our buildings are falling apart in a lot of areas, and they need to be refurbished. So we're putting money all into education to the tune of about $330 million in my budget. One time, these are not increases, they're one-time fixes, things that have been neglected forever. Higher education is getting about $40 million to do some scholarships and to fund the performance funding for the universities and recourse design. So that's important as we move to be able to get our students graduated and hopefully utilize technology to make sure that happens, and try to understand that we want our kids not only sitting at a desk, we want them standing with a diploma in their hand. They're spending too long of a time in the classroom and not coming home with that diploma. They're dropping out or going away or sitting there for 15 years. That is no longer acceptable. You and I are picking up the tab on all of that. Health and welfare is something that I believe is very important, and I know that two of the biggest issues on my agenda right now is Child Protective Services out of DES. We're going to have to put some dollars in there, maybe not a whole lot. We're going to try to look and see if we can revamp and move things around and make sure that people that are qualified are able to stay out in the field and work with law enforcement to do those investigations. For whatever the reason, we've had a very uptick in child abuse and parental irresponsibility, and that no longer is going to be tolerated. I don't think that we'll ever find a total solution, but I'm not giving up trying, so I'm putting whatever I feel that we can get by with into CPS and see if we can some way, somehow rectify that. And I've got a great team that's working in that direction, along with the county attorney from Maricopa County and a new DES director. So, and it's not going to take a lot of money, but it's going to take maybe some. We don't quite know what direction we're going to go, but that is something that's on my agenda that I believe that the public understands. There, but for the grace of God, go you or I, if we were children, and we need to stand up and take care of those people. The other arena is mental health. The SMI community, we cut almost $70 million out of their budgets last year, out of the Medicaid budget, because we had to. We could no longer afford those kinds of things. This year, I am going back in and putting about $37 million back in for medication for those people, and for counselors, and for restoration, so that they too can become functional. I think it's an important part of society. Bottom line, we really don't have a choice. We're under judicial judgment saying that it should be funded at far more than that. We were able to fend off that decision last year, and we were successful. They backed off. We are now in negotiations. It's that big word called Arnold versus Sarn. You probably hear it on the radio or on TV or in the newspaper, but it's something that we do have to address because of the court order that was passed down on Arizona. And we have modified that. We worked with them. We've got them backed up, but we will have to probably come up with a solution along with the legislature. Mine was $37 million. They probably want about $150 million or more. In fact, I think the last figure I heard was about $225 million. But I think we can work on it. We'll get it done. And of course, we've got all those other little things too that we deal with, like the forester and tourism. I'm putting $7 million general fund money into tourism because I think it's the right thing to do. They generate a tremendous amount of revenue for our state, and we can help us by making it a general fund rather than based on self-perpetuating revenue that they can generate. So, you know, it's a big budget. It's all online. You're all welcome to go look at it. But I am encouraged, and I will tell you that now that we're here at this time in our life, that we can look back and reflect on that wonderful state that was here before all of us, and the great people that were there that made Arizona what it is. And now, here we are, all of us, you and me, together, looking forward to the second century, and we get to do that roadmap. Let's make sure we do it right, and let's really celebrate that we are part of it. So, thank you all so much for allowing me to do this.